Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as we welcome the CEO of the Fifth. You know him, you celebrate him like you know him. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Tiana, I got my eyes on you, I'll come through BAMS and then try and get you some new gigs, You've done so well, you did so well here. Thank you. And then, Bamdele, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for the privilege to be here. And then I was wondering why you invited us, because you didn't have enough time to teach all your slides, and your session was mind-blowing. Ellen, your session was very passionate. Thank you so much for everything, the words and everything. My good friend Benga Denuga, well, he doesn't like people talking about him, but thank you for coming, and then I'm sure we're going to be blessed by your wealth of experience. Annie, thank you for coming all the way from Obodo Yimbo. You know, when he was talking about it, I said he doesn't understand. His money is 1 to 1,900 or 1,900. I mean, he could just bring £1 and then he can command us in 1,900 ways. So it's good to have you here. And Toby, good to see you too. Where's your wife? She stepped out? Okay, good. Well, good. So my only challenge today will be my time. So I don't know, 40 minutes, Ogbenga or any, when it's about 5 minutes to my time, just stylishly stand up and I'll get the brief. Because people like us, we don't speak for 40 minutes. We speak for 4 hours. But we'll try and make sure that we get everything done. And then the topic Bamidele gave me, controlling the present and the future. You should have asked me to control one. But controlling the present and then controlling the future in 40 minutes, well, God will really, really help me today. But anyway, it's good to be here, and 7 habits of movers and shaker. I want to move. I want to move things. I want to dominate my industry if possible. And I think God has helped us to do that. And when I came here and I saw what you're doing, all the LEDs, I was very intimidated. But you started giving me ideas of what to do. So you have set a benchmark that I have to beat. So that's the way progress happens. I'm just trying to get used to the stage. I could be a bit scared or fearful, and then probably you see my voice shake or something like that. But anyway, how do you control the present and the future? Well, you will hear a lot of people tell you you need ideas to control the present, you need ideas to control the future, you need all that. But I agree with them, but that's not the total truth. For you to control the present, you need to have money. Yeah. So my first, where's the remote the control the presenter? So my first gig will be to help us see where the money is. Because if you don't have the money, there's no how you can control the present, and you can't even control your industry. You may have the idea. When you come up with the idea, your idea is very, very powerful. And those people like BAMS that have the money, there's a way they can buy your idea or give you money based on your idea investment, and then within the time, they can kick you off that space. And then you may have to start all over again. Without money, there's no control of the present. Without money, there's no control of it. But that is not the beginning. You need to have an idea. You need to have all that. But I know Ellen has taught us how to be promoted. Bamdele has taught us how to be movers and shakers of our industry, blah, blah, like that. But then let me just quickly focus on where the money is. And when you tell me there's no money in Nigeria, I agree with you. And I also disagree with you. Any profession in this world, there is the 1%, there is the 10%, there is the 30%, and there is the 70%. And it depends on where you are. 1% of the total population of the world, they control in any industry, in any world. Let me just go global. 1% of the total population of the world, they control 48.9% of the total wealth. Total wealth. That's Credit Suisse. They control 49%, let us say. 48.9% of the total wealth. Then you now come to the 10% of the working population. These guys, together with the 1%, they control 85% of the total wealth in the world. So when you say there is no money, then probably you're not flocking with the guys who are in the 10% level or the 1% level. Because when they say there was forex situation in Nigeria, some people got richer even in Nigeria. So there is money, but you are not just at the place where the money is. So when you now go to the 30% plus the other ones, they control 97% of the total wealth. So they now left 3% to 70% to be struggling with. So your question should now be that if you say you're not seeing the money, you're either in the 70 or the 30%. So the least you can ever be, if you want to have this money or see it or control it and then control the present, is for you to make sure that you are at least at the 10% mark of the world's population. And this guys, 10% are the people who make $100,000 and above. The guys with the 1% are the people who make $1 million and above. Now you can now look at your income and then you know where you fall right now. Am I in the 1%? Am I in the 10%? Or am I in the 30 or 70%? And please let me say this, the things that we think, somehow we think there is so much money in Nigeria. The money is in Nigeria, but is residing in the hands of the 1% and the 10%. So the next question you should be asking yourself, that these guys who are 10% or who are 1%, how do they think? Where are they? Let me even find out where they are so that I can go and knock on their door and probably know what to do and then get part of this money from them. Now, if you really want to make something out of life, you need to realize that these people need to be courted, these people need to be known, and then you need to convince them. Even in your office, there is the 1%, there is the 10%, there is 30%, and there is 70%. And then if the 1% or the 10% does not know you, and according to what Ellen said, and you are an endangered species, the likelihood that you will get promotion is very limited. And the places, the meeting that will make or mar you, you will not be present there. But you want to make sure that there's somebody in that meeting who's got your back. So you need to know these guys, any profession at all, whether medicine, whether music, whether content development, whether real estate, whether motivational talk, whether consulting. There is the 1%, there is the 10%, there is the 30%, and there is the 70%. 1% are doing absolutely exceptionally well, 10% are doing well, 30% are trying to do well, and then 70% are languishing big time. So anytime I teach people, anytime I'm in a building, I'm trying to move people from 70. I know there is no 70% here. I can't see, no, I don't see any 70% here, I hope. I hope the makeup are not hiding. Sorry, the good clothes are not hiding some things there. But anyway, I just believe that there's no 70 here. And okay, you agree with me, there's no 70 here. And there's no 30%. 10% probably. But you know what? Even in the 1%, there's the 1% of the 1%. Hope you know that. That's where the real money is, the 1% of the 1%. And I hear a lot of people talk about billionaires. I want to be a billionaire. Billionaire, conclave, billionaire, this and that. I always tell people, it is not easy to be a billionaire, whether in Naira or in dollars. Because it's an exclusive club. The Billionaires Club is an exclusive club. You have about 3,000 people all over the world that are billionaires in dollars. But when you now come to Nigeria, in Naira, according to data and statistics, not based on the social media trends and everything, we have less than 9,000 people that are billionaires in Naira. No, it's not possible. There are politicians who have money, but they are eating somewhere in the grave or probably in the soccer way, when they changed Naira or when they wanted to change Naira some few months ago and everything. But this is the question. Do you want to base your strategy on assumption or you base your strategy on data? Yeah. And you want to base your strategy on fake or how they got the money in a very dubious way or in a very organized way. So we can look at those people, but one thing you need to know, data does not support only 9,000 people that make $1 billion Naira right here. So I did a lot of research before I get into my slide. I was figuring out these guys, who are they? Where are they from? I need to study them so that I can know how to sell to them. And I know how the language that they speak, because they have a language they speak, you know. Hope you know that. And it's the English language, but it sounds differently. So when you're with the 1% and you're acting or talking beggarly, I mean everything, I need your help. Can you help me with this? I am here to see how you can help my destiny. You have already spoken the wrong language. The only time you will be in that room is when you are talking. The next time in that room, you will not see that person again. You will not even be able to move close to the person. So you have to watch your language. These guys were there, and then, I figure out, they said, for you to break into this 1%, I'm not in my slide there, that's why I said I talked for 4 hours, but don't worry, I'll try my best. These guys, they said, if you want to break into this 1%, there are 3 boxes that you must tick. Okay, somebody's ready to write. The first box is that you must be born by the 1%. Like Bams that grew up in Ibadan and told us all the things that happened to him in Ibadan. I thought I suffered. But there was another suffering story that I had today that was a serious matter. I used to tell people I was born in a poor family. Sorry, did I say poor? I take it back. Poor family. We could only afford the P-O, and the other O-R that completes the spelling we couldn't afford. When you go to a poor neighborhood and the poor people there in that neighborhood now looks at you and they now say, yeah, these people poor. When poor people start calling you poor, your own case is very pathetic. So I couldn't take the first box, so I quickly went to the second one. Because I don't even think anybody in my family, looking at my lineage from my father to my grandfather, were in the 1% category. So it may not be my gene, neither is it in my blood. So I have to do something for myself. Somebody say if you don't come from a rich home, make sure a rich home comes from you. So I quickly went to the second box and they said for you to be in the 1%, that you have to be married to the 1%. And then for those of you who are already wearing a ring in your fourth finger, your left hand, this is not for you. You can't change your mind. But for you who have not, you are still looking around and trying to figure out this place, this is an advice for you. They say don't marry for love. I agree. But go to where money is and marry for love there. Go there and marry for love there. But anyway, sometimes you realize that this wealth also is not sexually transmitted if you realize that. Yeah, it is not. You can be married into the 1% but not be 1%. So quickly, because I couldn't tick that second box, I quickly went to the third one, thinking I'll have a breakthrough. People like Bams have been able to deal with that very well, but not while he was in Ibadan. He did that when he came to Lagos. Sometimes this thing could be also location-based, Sometimes, but I will not go there yet. So I went to the talk box, and the box says that you must attend an Ivy League school. And if you went to Nasarawa State University, sorry, did I say Nasarawa? So are you from Nasarawa? Oh, sorry. You need to see, this advice is for you. You have to write. You are broken through. You are in the 1%. So what did you do? From Nasarawa, you went somewhere else? You schooled there. How many of your friends are in Nasarawa that are in the 1% right now, that are in 1%? It's very hard. No, 5. Anyway, let's just move on. Don't, aspiring to be in 1%. But this is it. I couldn't take the third one. But this is a common denominator there. You can be born into the 1%, not be 1%. You can be married to the 1% and not be 1%. You can even go to Harvard, but not be in the 1%. Yeah. So the common denominator is a relationship. I'll talk about that if time permits me. Relationship. And you must know how to build strategic relationships. But this is it. This is what I was talking about, all the English I was speaking. The 1%, 56 million people. Let's come here. 62.5 million people. 1%. They make $1 million and above. This one, $100,000 and above, the 10%. Now you say, okay, this is working population. Hope you know that. We're not counting children here. Working population, 6.5 million people and that. But you must ensure that you move from here. If you're here, move here and there. Most importantly, the best place to be is the 1%. The best place to sell is the 1%. The best friends to have is the 1% and the 10%. And you must know how to put yourself together so that you can attract this set of people and they can listen to you. You must have the language to speak. Hopefully, I will be able to help you get there. So let's go back a little bit and then look at, let's go forward a little bit more. So the 3 things you need to do to belong to this exclusive club, 1%. First, follow the money. Follow data, not glamour, not trends, not passion. Follow the money. Facebook, social media is going to deceive you a lot. There's so many audio monies that you're seeing there. When you look at statistics, 9,000 Nigerians make $1 million and above. Then you know that all the things that you see, people posting beside cars and everything may not be real. They are audio. So you don't follow trends, you follow data. So you must be a student of data. That's why one of the few people you follow is Statista or something like that. There's a group like that you follow them, and then you find out what they are doing, the kind of data they are churning out, so that you can know where to put your attention at. And then the next one is that you must deal with your formative year. I don't have the time to go into that, but you know what? How many of you know that the things that we're battling with right now when it comes to wealth, when it comes to position, when it comes to moving from 70% to the 1% was infested into us when we were growing up, our formative years. You know, when they tell you money does not grow on a tree, it's a programming. You're being programmed. When they tell you when you eat, it's not that you are full, it's that you have eaten. It's a programming. When they tell you everything, and your mom and your dad, they begin to speak languages over and over and over again that talks about they are programming you. And then those kind of programs, you need to know how to deal with it. Because when you came into those walls, you came with a clear slate of your tabula rasa, which is age 0 to 7. Your tabula rasa came clean. So whatever you're receiving right there from your home, especially because you don't have the time to go elsewhere, you're receiving from your home is filling up your tabula rasa, and then that is your formative years. So many things that we are dealing with right now happened in age 0 to 7. And then the scientists will tell you that is when your brain is at the theta brain wave. We hope you know your brain is going through 5 waves every 24 hours. So the ones who is intelligent among us, who is smart, must study these things so that you must know where your brain is at the very point in time, and you must know how to take advantage of those brain waves. But your brain as a child is at the theta brain wave, and that is where the unconscious things that have been programmed into you. So you must know how to tackle that as you grow older, because your brain goes to the theta brain wave when you are sleeping and you sleep. I will explain it. You're watching TV. Go into the room. No, I have to finish this series. And you're dozing, and then you sleep off. You see, between that time of sleeping and sleep, your brain has switched to the theta brainwave. So if that is the brainwave that caused all this kata that I'm going through from my age 1 to 7, then I need to be strategic and understand that when I'm about to sleep and I sleep, has to be taken seriously. Whatever I'm watching, whatever I'm listening to at that point in time is very critical in erasing what has happened in age 1 to 7 of my life. So you have to take care of that. Everything is programmed. You must know when your brain is at alpha brainwave, because that's the place of creativity. Most people don't know that. And most people who are very creative get into that zone where most of them move closer to what. How many of you realize that you get a lot of ideas when you're in your shower? Do you realize that? Yeah. When your body is calm and everything, that's the brain getting into that theta brain wave. Since you guys went to church, let me also go to church. And when you were talking about, when you hear the story of Jacob and Laban, that he changed the salary almost 10 times. Then you realize that, the Bible says that the sheep who were speckled or thin, there was a way Jacob was doing it, and he was manipulating their genes one way or the other so that they were giving birth to strong ones. You know what happened? Did you realize that when Jacob was doing that, the strips and he put it together, he did not put those things where those sheep were eating or where they were meeting. Do you know where he put it? Where the sheep will come and drink water. Your brain is 70-80% water. So you must see the dynamics of water to your brain and to your creativity. 70-80% water. The more you move closer to water, the more you have water in your system, the better for you. There's a guy who wrote a book, Water is Medicine. His name is Audu or something. He's a Ghanaian. He said that in that book that your brain is the chief executive officer of your body. The brain regulates how every organ moves and everything the organ does in your body. The brain does that. And he said the brain kicks into action when there is not enough water in your system. The brain doesn't want the body to pack up, so the only water available in the system goes to the liver because the brain has realized that the liver, if it doesn't get water right now, it will pack up. But the question now is that a job you want to give your brain to do? Regulating stuff in your body? No, that's not the job you want to give your brain to do. You want to give your brain the job, not even memory, but imagination and creativity. So what do? Load your system with enough water. So that the brain will not be thinking, which organ needs water? Because there is surplus water in the system. And that also can help your creativity, but that's not where I'm going. Now, and again, you need to deal with this also. You need to deal with this. The Maslow hierarchy of needs. You must make sure you're not just about what to eat. You must be at that point of fulfillment, and your language must be around that area. When you are with the 1%, don't ever ask for help. And don't look like you need help. That's why the banks will never borrow somebody who needs money. Hope you know that. They only give somebody who doesn't look like. I mean, banks beg people for loan. We have a loan for, just come and collect it. And the man says, I don't want. And you, that you need, you are parading and going there every time, knocking on it, but they're not looking at you. There's a language. There's a language to those things, and you must be aware of that. But let's move on. Let me get back into how do you stay competitive? How do you stay competitive? That is how you can control the present. I'm still talking about the present. So if I don't get to the future, hope you know that all of us are going into the future. But how do you control the future when you cannot even control the present? You have to be in charge of the present because you can see the future. So individual competitiveness, this is how to stay competitive. How do you stay competitive? I have a formula that I've shared for 20 years, over 30 years. And let me say this, please. For those of us who are business people, hope you know that you are not in business until you have done 10 years. I don't care how much you have earned. I don't care how much you have made. You may be in billions. Forget about it. Maybe 100 billion that you have made in your life or even $1 billion. If you have not crossed 10 years, you're not yet started. So you have to be careful with the money that you have in your account because things may turn around very soon. Statistics, 90% of the business that starts dies after 5 years. Imagine 2005 when my business started. I started my business in 2005. 100 business starts in 2005. By 2010, 90 of them will die. 90 of them will die. Statistics. And then the 10 will go to another 5 years, second 5 years, and then 9 out of the 10 that survives will die after the second 5 years. So the question you should be asking yourself is that, what am I supposed to be doing the first 5 years and the second 5 years? This is where you begin to deal with cash flow and profit. You know, someone won't profit all the time. But the guys who will survive it most of the time knows that we don't need profit all the time. We just need to make sure there is a cash flow in the system and the whole thing is going and going and going. There is a time for profit. It is not immediate. And that's a class for another day. But let us move on. So once you realize this, then you begin to ask yourself the question, how do I stay competitive? Now look at this formula, look at this formula, look at this formula quickly. I may take it off the screen. Look at it. You want to take this, what's it called? Selfie right now and just look at it. This is my pot of soup that I'm sharing with you. Anyway, don't mind me. What you know plus how you express what you know, multiply by who you know, and then you say, this is where I want to major. If you allow me major, stay here today. This will do the magic. This is the starter. Those are the starters. This is where the magic is. This is where the magic is. Hmm? Who you know, who knows you, forget this multiplication sign, what you are known for, and how much you are loved and trusted. Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? Eileen, I think this is a good place to say, praise the Lord, hallelujah. Are we good? Come on, talk to me, come on, talk to me. I'm doing a microwave teaching right now. I'm trying to run because I know very soon somebody will stand on time. There's 5 minutes more. And I have a lot to say here. Now, let's start. What do you know? I won't major too much on that. Knowledge is in 2 forms. Knowledge of you and knowledge of yours. Knowledge of your environment, knowledge of your colleagues, knowledge of yours. Okay, I thought my time was almost up. When you see her approaching like that. So, knowledge of you. You must know you. You must know your strengths and your weaknesses. I don't want to major on that. That's more like elementary. You must know your strengths and your weaknesses. It is a tragedy for you to be in the public space and then you are exhibiting weaknesses without you knowing. It's a tragedy. You must know your strength. I would never in my life allow you play me in the area of my weakness. Never. Never. I'm conscious of it. You may not be. You may just want to be nice, or you're just doing your job, but you're moving me towards my dark side. I would never go there. And if you do not know, how do you ensure that you don't go there? That's why you see some people when they are being interviewed, they ask a question and the answer does not correlate with the question. You are wondering, this guy, is he deaf or is he sleeping? He knows what he's doing. He knows if he answers that question, another question will go, and then before he knows happening, he will be in a zone that he doesn't want to go. So he will be telling you, you go there, this is where everybody should come. Do you understand what I'm talking about? You must know your strengths. You must know who you are. And you must know your environment. You must know your company. You must know your bosses. You must know them. You must know, that's simple emotional intelligence anyways. You must know the one who likes to hear stories. You must know the one who likes to hear numbers. Some you have to include the stories along with numbers. Some don't even like stories. They just want the numbers. And again, look, at the top, the language is language of numbers. Oh. I don't have time to talk about that, but let's move on. Now, what you know, how you express it, plus how you express it. Because look, guys, look. Same thing in the office or anything. I don't know. Somebody said something about politics. Am I right? Look, anybody who tells you not to play politics in your place of work is your greatest enemy. Yeah? Look, politics are play. Look, your productivity cannot get you to the top. The top in your organization, forget it. Your performance can only get you to general manager. You see, that's board membership. Board membership is meant for loyal people. So nobody in the board, you don't walk yourself to the boss. We take you to the board. Look, nobody gets to the top. Everybody is brought to the top. Man no man. And you must be strategic enough. Why am I going for that? No, let me stay here. How you express what you know. It doesn't matter whether you know more than me. The most important thing is that how do we express it? If I'm expressing it better than you, then I'm perceived to know more than you. Yeah. Simple as ABC. You know 1,000 things, I know 100, but when you talk, we can't perceive you know 1,000. We think you know 10. And when me, 100, when I talk, it's as if I know 10,000. I will claim the market, and I will be promoted faster than you. Because you know what? If your check is in my world, if your promotion is in my world, but here you are communicating, you know 10 things, 1,000 things, and 1,000 things qualifies you for that promotion. But while you are expressing your 1,000, I perceive it to be 100. You don't get that promotion, you don't get that check. And then one bloody guy who probably was not as good as you in the business school is now making so much sense. But let me teach that guy, but this guy is yarning, he's delivering. He gets the promotion, he gets the check. That's why they say marketing is managing perception. So, how do you express yourself quickly? 4 things: communication, creativity, confidence, and collaboration. God help me. God help me with time today. Communication, communication, communication. Look, if you have to break the bank, empty your account, to go and learn how to talk, to go and learn how to write, please do. No matter who you are, lawyer, doctor, career person, the more you talk and you make sense, the more opportunities you have. Did you hear that? The more you, now I'm going to have more opportunities. Some of you don't know me before, and I know I'm yarning well. Opportunity is going to open here. So that is why you cannot just be the one to gather the content in the office and allow somebody else to make the presentation. The only time we remember the guy who gathered the content is when the presentation goes wrong. And where did you get this info? Did I point to you? He's the one that gathered it. But if the presentation goes well, the guy who made the presentation is wow, that's a good one. And there you are at the back office or at the side of the table, you are beefy. And let me gather the information. No. Let me do the research. Oh. No. It is not enough for you to do the research. It's also good for you to stand up and communicate. And you must know the trick to communication. Let me just share one with you quickly. Hey, Jesus is Lord. I know my time is flying. Good. Quickly. There's something they call in communication 7, write it down, 7, 38, and 55. 7%, 38%, and 55%. Your words that you speak, W-O-R-D, carries 7% impact. So it doesn't matter. No, it does matter. Don't let me say it doesn't matter. It does matter. You getting right, getting the tenses, your vocabulary and everything, getting it right. You must get it right. And let me say this. If you traveled abroad and you've got the accent is not faked, if it's not faked, use it. It's right in this part. Because we just feel somebody who speaks with an accent is more intelligent than the one who speaks with information and seeking. That's just it. It's a gullible mindset. It's a gullible state. It's our state of low self-esteem in this part of the world. So if you have the accent, throw it out, man. In it. You have to throw it there because when you do, they just assume that you are There's a bank that I used to know, I won't mention the bank, that, when you start speaking like that, they just feel that you're the right person for the job. Yeah. But you know what? 7% the word, 38% your tone. The tone. What you have to say is not more important than how you say it. Actually, how you say it is more important than what you say. Because when it comes to public speaking, your delivery is much more powerful than your content. They say content is king. No, not in the delivery or in the public speaking space. Content is queen. Delivery is king. They are both in the palace, but you must know how to deliver. So your tone is absolutely important in you passing your message across. What's your name, sir? Sam. I am sorry. And I am sorry. Which one do you believe? The second. The two, same sentence. Same sentence, two different meaning. I love you. And I love you. Same sentence, two different meanings. So you can see the power of the tone. You cannot successfully apologize to somebody you are still angry with because the tone will color your words and not make the person believe you. So you must understand the power of tone. You must understand when to use it. You must understand when to, it must be used at all times. And then you have the 55% that is the body language. Your body language. Very important. Your body language, you start speaking with your body as you get into the hall. As you get into the office. I'm conscious of that. Whenever I enter a place, people are looking, who is that? So I speak right from the time I got down from my car. My body is speaking. Very powerful. 55%. But let's leave communication. Creativity. Now, let me say this. Look, as an entrepreneur, listen to me. Hey. Entrepreneur. Oh, dear entrepreneur. Are you here? Entrepreneur. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Good. No. I mean, see your hands. I can't see you like this. Let me see your hands. Oh, entrepreneur. Listen to me. You cannot be creative when you're still bogged down with operations. Never. I was teaching on the platform some years back, and I was teaching at the different levels of leadership. Your leadership must evolve. You have operations, you have operational management, you have operational leadership. Operational management is managing the system. Operational leadership is managing the people that manages the system. But strategic leadership, that's where the CEO and the founder is not managing people, it's managing ideas and ideologies. Anything that stops you from thinking as a CEO will sink you. I don't care whether it's the marketing or the sales. I don't care whether it's the money coming in or not. Anything that can stop you from thinking as a CEO will sink you. I guarantee you. I don't care how much you have made. I don't care how much is in the account. If you don't solve this thinking thing, when you free yourself from the mundane things, from the micro activity of your organization, that's why you have not stood up. Anyway, even if I stop now, you've gotten something, all right. So, thinking, creativity, thinking. First, you must believe you're creative for you to be creative. I don't have time to go into that. Then you have confidence. How do you build confidence? Your self-image affects your self-esteem. And your self-esteem affects your self-manifestation. So what are the images that you see? What are the things that you see? Look, I guide what I see and what I hear. When you start talking down, when you start talking negatively, I don't stay there. Because whatever I see, your five senses, and the most powerful of your five senses are your sight and your ears. So what you hear and what you see affect how you think about yourself. So I must ensure that I see well, hear well, so that I can have the proper self-esteem. When you look at the definition of self-esteem and confidence, you realize they're the same. And it all centered around your feeling. Once I can feel right, then I can manifest right. Now, your feeling, if you don't know this, have a way, or your feeling has a way of affecting your body language. It also has the power to affect the aura that you carry. Many of us don't know we carry a smell. Not your BO, not your body odor, not your perfume cannot even erase this. I don't care how expensive the perfume is. But there is an aura, there is a smell that you carry that takes its strength from your belief system. You must believe right. You must believe yourself. That is why talking to yourself every now and then in front of your mirror that you're going somewhere and everything, it's absolutely important. Talking to yourself helps you to silence what the psychologists call the psychological critic. Because there's always a voice that criticizes you and tells you you're not up to what you're about to do. And most of the time, that voice, that pathological critic, takes the voice of your family member or somebody that is most influential in your life that has criticized you over the years. So, but you want to silence it. How do you silence it? You have to create another voice to silence it. And that voice is your voice. So when that voice is speaking to you internally, you have to be able to voice your own out to counter it. But you know what? You can't just say, hey, Eniola, you are this. Eniola, you are that. Eniola, you are going somewhere. Eniola, don't worry. Nobody will hold you down. Eniola, this. No, it won't work. Because the pathological critic is making reference to things that have happened in your life. So you are just talking on the surface. So what you need to do is to go back home and sit down and write 50 things that you have achieved in your lifetime. Ask questions because you need to supply your own voice with the amenities to be able to counter the pathological critic. 50. If you can do it easily, then you go 100. Why? I want you to think deep. I don't want you to be able to write 50 things like that. If you can write 50 things like that, then go 100. Think deep. Go to your primary school. Ask your parents. Ask everybody. You need to supply that your voice. And then when you have written all those things, go through it every now and then. Because that voice will come, has to be silenced. And for you to silence it, you have to make reference to the things that you have achieved when you were growing up. Are we together on this? Hey, confidence, collaboration. Now let's get to the juicy part. Oh, sorry, I forgot. I'm in control. Let's get to the juicy part. Whew. Now, do you remember? Can you remember this? No, let's go here. Look. Do you see this? What you know plus how you express what you know. That's arithmetic progression. 2 plus 2, 4. 4 plus 4, 8. But if you stay so far what I've explained so far, your progress is predictable. Predictable. But when you get to the geometric progression here, your progress is amplified. You can't predict it. So what you know, how you express it, is always amplified by the people you know and the ones who know you. The only time we are mate is when we are dealing with 2 and 2. Your 2 and 2 is 4, my 2 and 2 is 4. When you put your 4 and 4 together, you get 8. My 4 and 4 is 16. You get angry with me and you put your 8 and 8 together to get 16. By the time I put my own 16 and 16 together, forget it. You will never catch me. So that is why it doesn't matter how much you know. You need to know. But the people you know is equally important. Your social skills, your ability to connect with people, they amplify your voice. And you must know that. Now, who you know and who knows you. That is why investing in quality strategic relationship is absolutely important. I used to teach this, the 4 levels of wealth. I've increased it to 5 right now. 4 levels of wealth. Number 1, get rich. Number 2, stay rich. Number 3, staying sane in the midst of riches. I won't go to sanity because that's where most people fail. 3rd level is staying sane in the midst of riches. And the 4th level is transferring wealth from generation to generation. Unless you are sane in the midst of wealth, you can't transfer it to the next generation. The best you can do is transfer it to one. I can tell you, they will squander everything because statistics shows that the first generation builds, the second generation sustains, the third generation squanders. So until you are sane as a progenitor of wealth, forget it. It's not going to the 3rd generation. Statistics. So, but the first one is become rich and stay rich. It is more difficult to stay rich than to be rich. It's better you don't become rich than to become rich and you can't stay rich. May God never make you the rich man of yesterday. Very important. It's not up to 10 minutes now. You didn't stand up. You guys didn't stand up. It's up to 10 minutes. Jesus is Lord. Can I have 5 minutes? Can I have 5 minutes? You love this. You love this. You love this. Remember, we're still trying to control the present. And we still have what we need to talk about. What happened? But there's something I wrote there that's called stakeholders analysis. You must know the stakeholders in your life. You know, I have a coaching group. Although I'm not a coach, the only certificate I have when it comes to coaching is my result. And I have result. Mad result. Crazy result. But one of the things we did, I noticed that some of the guys who came to me are real estate guys. And I needed to protect their business. And we look at where they were getting their lands from. We pinpointed 3 kings. So I approached them, I went to their palaces to become their friends. And every year, we send 5 to 7 cows each to those KBCs. Because you know what? If you want to stay rich, there are some people that you must be friends with. Number 1, a lawyer. Number 2, an accountant. 3, investors. 4, doctors. That's why when you're in Nigeria, even NHS, even to people because you have to be able to have somebody you can call. And you have to be able to service those relationships. You don't just be their friends. Substance must be leaving you constantly to them. So that when they see your phone call, they know that they can pick it up in the middle of the night. And they can give you the advice that will save you from probably that life-threatening stuff. And then the other two that I will major on is politicians and owners. Every industry has owners. Every office, they are owners. Oh, you don't know? Owners. You must be friends to owners. And not just owners, politicians. Oh, businessman, once you start crossing the 1 billion naira mark, the local government chairman in your area should know you. They should know. I mean, you must give them every 4 years. You must contribute to their election. I was in Port Harcourt recently. I was telling them in Port Harcourt, you see, this Wike Fubara fight, stay neutral. You don't know where it will swing. Say you are a businessman, you are not an activist. During the last election, I was telling my guys, I don't want to see any of you. I don't want to know who you're voting for, but don't go on Facebook. Don't go on Facebook and start talking. He said, why? You're not an activist, you're a businessman. Because when you talk too much on Facebook, you realize that the coastal road will just go through your... Sorry. I'm sorry. Did I go there? You have to be smart. I told them, don't. And there was one of them, when it was the gubernatorial election time, because of his name, because I knew what was coming. That would have happened 3 weeks before. I knew what was coming. That one had a name that is not Niyi Adesanya, it's not from the West. I told him, who do you want to vote for your gubernatorial? He told me, say, then you go online and start shouting. Start shouting. Why? Because I know they will come for their businesses, and I need to be able to show the owners that I've been friends with, this boy is not like that. Look at what he was posting. We have not gotten to that point where that got us into any mess. So there's no need to pull out those facts. But if there is a need, we'll pull out those facts. Because, look, you're a businessman. They are owners. You must respect them. You must be close to them. Politicians, look. Muhammad. Emir. You get. Hello? Come on, talk to me. You get. Emir. 2 kingdoms divided against. You get it? Yeah. There was a time this guy was regulating the banks. He came for some banks. I call them the blue boys. Interesting. Those of the people who came for their bank, they are tongue-talking people. They speak in tongues. They go to church. They were even pastors. Some of them, I even had one who was even usher collecting offering. But he took the bank. Then he left the blue boys. He was coming for the red boys. Red boys. And the red boys ran into the National Assembly. And the National Assembly called Sanusi, sat him down. How can you do this? We are supposed to supervise you. We are supposed to be this. We are supposed to be that. So they gagged him. So he couldn't take the bank off the red boys. He now brought a rule that if you have done 10 years as the MD, resign. And then you need to have another 10 years, spend another 10 years outside before you can become a board member. But at least they didn't take the bank off them. So the red boys left. And they still had their bank. So when Sanusi became emir, those red boys lobbied their guys. Their guy. To become the CBN governor. And then when he give them, what did he do? He canceled that circular. And the red boys came back and became chairman of their banks. They activated the ownership strategy. The owner strategy. They activated the politicians. They have given checks to. You give to Caesar. What is Caesar? You gave to God. What is God? PDP have their own, APC have their own, Labour have their own, or any other party that looks like it's going to win. That's how to survive here. That's how to control the presence. You must be smart. And look, they got their banks back. That's what they call regulator capture. Whosoever is regulating your industry or entrepreneur must know you. You must know them. They must love you. And they must trust you. And that is a serious matter to accomplish. One of my guys nearly lost his land. Over 150 million naira. When we saw that one of the kings has jurisdiction over that land, I told him to meet me in the palace. I informed the king that I was coming. He can't say no to my visit. You just need to look at his calendar. Why? I have given him EBA. You know what EBA means? Emotional bank account. Anytime you meet somebody that your name and your face registered with the person, you open an account in person in the emotional bank. All of you have emotional banks. Anything I do to you that stirs up your emotion negatively, I'm making withdrawals. Anything I do to you that stirs up your emotion positively, I'm making deposits. So before I make a withdrawal, if I ask for a favor, I'm making withdrawals. But if I do you a favor, what am I doing? I'm making deposits. So before I ask for a favor, I must make sure that I've made enough deposits before I issue the check. So when I issue the check of a visit, my EBA was too much for the king to say no. We entered the palace. The boy came later, and then I ate from the same plate with the king. That's how much EBA he has eaten. The boy came in, and then when he told the king where he bought the land from, the countenance of the king changed. Then I knew there was a problem. So the baale was now scolding the boy. One young guy, 29-year-old boy, scolding the boy. I signed him and said, "You excuse us." He excused and I started talking. The king said, "If not for you, I will have ordered him out of the town because I have vowed, or we have vowed that nobody will use that land." But I didn't say it out though. But this is my own body language, my aura. He's my boy. He has to be covered. We have to find a solution to this. And a solution was found. And his 150 million naira land that he has invested money was saved. Why? I know the owners. Everywhere I'm trading to, the owners must be courted. The regulators must be courted. And then they must be serviced. They must be given EBA. Your boss at the top must be given EBA. Buy tie, not a green one. Except he works with glow. Send it up. Give gifts. Be there at their functions, their social functions. Be active. Be loyal. There is a time that a check will be issued, but you just make sure that you have enough deposits. There is no time to talk, but I believe, like the Yorubas will say, there is so much word, even in a Kobo's book. And I hope one other day we'll come back and do Maverick. Then I'll help show you how to control the future. But for now, control the present very well. God bless you.
Please, let's celebrate him. Let's give that standing ovation.
So good news every time we look at CNN. I wish that enemies could talk, and the super homie Christopher Reeves could still walk. I wish that we could